Hey everyone, welcome to Alice is Missing on Mythic Journeys. Uh, So Alice lives dangerously for a high school student. She is a skater after school. She's always going to the skate park. She is the queen of rollerblading. Not a lot of people do that anymore. All these people on skateboards and razors, but she has an old pair of rollerblades and she just shreds. And it is a great way for her to let off steam because she's not doing very well in school. It's frustrating. We're going to get to Jack and how that affects her home life if it does, and if she or Jack is the better student. But Alice is struggling in history. She wants to live in the present, and all these old stuffy historical facts are just not her thing. She prefers PE, uh, but it's also sort of structured, and they have to, you know, play this game for this month, and you know, take tests on the rules and the history of those games, and she barely scrapes by studying for those. But that's much more her speed. Um, she and Charlie know each other because he had been uh, a student tutor for her when she wanted to get a little better at biology. We are in 10th grade, and he's got a knack for biology. Alice's guidance counselor realized that, you know, Alice needed to keep her GPA up, and if the easiest way to do that would to be improving biology. It certainly wasn't her worst subject, history was, but it would be much harder for her to, raise that F to a C than to raise her D to a B in bio. And so that's how Charlie and Alice uh, connected. Um, she helped her out for a couple of months at the end of last school year. So when we were freshmen, spring semester, Charlie helped Alice pull her grade up to actually a B plus, and they did well in the final. Charlie aced it. Then there was summer, which was you know great. Summer break, everyone's happy, but Charlie's mom and dad were going through something. They divorced, and Charlie and her mom moved for her mom's work. Um, Mom's a corporate lawyer and was able to get a job at another one of the headquarters in another state. So Charlie had to move away. And it's been all summer and first semester. And Charlie is coming back for winter break to reconnect with her friends and stay with her dad for a couple weeks. And I'll leave it at that for Charlie and Alice. Dakota, what's something more you'd like to know about either or both of us?
What kind of high school social life did Alice and Charlie have? Kids care about popularity a lot.
Yeah. Um, so Alice was not one of the, popular kids in particular. Among her skater friends, definitely good girl. Everyone liked her, but that was a sort of smaller subsection of the student body. Charlie was, not one of her friends from the park and a little more connected with, the rest of school socially, but, you know, sort of nerdy and not in with the most popular kids herself. I think in terms of the social strata, let's keep it classic. The football jocks are the top of the tier there. The prom king and queen are always the most popular sports players and the most beautiful girls. Um, and it's a real queen bee sort of vibe from them. Anything more you wanted to know about that?
How much of the social hierarchy here at our school is based on money?
Oh, um, it's been a rough few years for everyone,
Hmm.
and the social hierarchy had been pretty intertwined with finances, and people are trying to cling to that, but it's getting sort of muddied as some of the uh, wealthier and most popular kids have lost a lot of wealth, and they're trying to sort of hang on to the social status just by having had that in the past. And people are sort of reevaluating where each other really should be, but they still try to have a big party if someone can afford to throw something. People are doing that less and less and less. Only, a couple a year,
Uh,
like a couple school wide.
how much of our social lives takes place in the outdoors? Like the kids like to party out by whatever, a
Um,
disused place out in the woods.
if you skip over to the hunches and evidence tab, you can see some of these out of the way places. The lighthouse on the Howling Sea Cliffs, not
Ah,
particularly quiet, the Howling Cliffs, um,
uh,
but the old barn on Cambridge Street, the Callisto River State Park, those are definitely party spots if people are looking for quiet places. The Silent Falls train station and the Dripping Dagger nightclub are the other two places in the city that we'll be expanding on. So let's flesh out the Callisto River State Park a little bit, where a lot of the parties have moved to. Instead of someone having a party at their house, they are going to save money on, hosting it and just not actually rent a camp space, but there are a couple of big areas in the park that the kids gather at. They can have a cool party out for little no money, gas money to get out there, and whatever people bring.
hmm,
And we'll come back to Callisto Rivers State Park when we do the locations, because there's something we want to do for each of the locations and each of the suspects is to give them like a little twist. What makes them particularly creepy places? And why might each of these people actually have a motivation to be the person who is responsible for Alice being missing? We don't just want like, oh hey, David's a popular kid. Let's describe a popular kid. We want a popular kid who's got a reason to kidnap another student. So we'll do that for Callisto State Park later. How about Jack or Julia? Do you have other questions for Charlie or Alice too?
I do. So I have a couple I guess one question per each. What are your guys' ambitions after high school? Just to get a better idea of the character.
Charlie wants to go to Stanford, stay in California. Alice wants to get as far away as possible. Probably not going to college. She's gonna apply wherever. If we skip forward 2 years, it'll probably just be a you know mad dash to apply for whatever colleges she can get into on the other side of the country, or the middle of the country, or Southern California, somewhere away. And she would just like take whatever. And if college applications doesn't get anywhere, that's fine. That's what the train station is for. She would probably lie to her parents and say she got in somewhere and hit the road.
One more question is like, how did you guys maintain a relationship and did it like depreciate?
We'll figure out how Alice and the rest of you know each other when you do your introductions too.
Mm.
But I think Alice introduced Charlie to the rest of you because the tutoring thing went well. We clicked as friends. Through that, Charlie met you all, and we've all kept in touch. Even though Charlie moved away, we still chat now and again, more over the summer when there wasn't anything else, no school to take up uh, all day every day. I don't know if people had summer jobs or they work after school, but you know, we've been in touch less and less this first fall semester of the next year. So yeah, Alice and Charlie clicked as friends from the tutoring, and Charlie got involved with the rest of you through Alice. Julia,
My question is, did Alice know that you were coming back? Like, was this pre-planned or was this more like a surprise kind of visit?
it was a surprise.
Mm.
Yeah, totally. You know how I said games change all the time? Like, I have never had this be a surprise visit in the, 20 something games.
There you
Um,
go.
yeah, Yeah, nice. Thank you.
So then, follow-up question to that is, when did Charlie start planning to come back and visit? Was it like
Um,
a last minute decision or
no. Charlie's been planning this since before the Thanksgiving break. He'd sort of put the idea out in his mom's mind, mentioning missing dad, and that sort of frustrated her, but she's a caring mother and wanted to make sure that Charlie was able to spend time with her dad. And so it wasn't that hard to, convince her to let me go back to Silent Falls. How long the trip there was going to be, she would have preferred if it were for a weekend. I pushed for like up until the day before school starts back up and negotiated to, 1 week. And so that's sort of been a negotiation since middle of November, but tickets were just bought a couple days ago. Dakota, would you like to introduce yourself